What if I told you that an 8-year-old boy attended his own funeral and then knocked on his grandmother's door 3 days later? This isn't fiction. This is the shocking true story of Noah Brooks, a boy who literally clawed his way back from the dead to expose the most twisted family betrayal you've ever heard. Stay with me, because this story will leave you speechless. Picture this. Fall in the small town of Fairhope, Illinois. Helen Brooks, a retired librarian, is living her dream. Retirement, golden leaves, pine-scented air, and her beloved vegetable garden keeping her busy. But the real joy in her life? Her 8-year-old grandson Noah. Every Saturday, they had their special tradition. Baking banana bread, exploring the garden, and Helen, reading him adventure stories, the same books she once read to his father Mark. From the outside, this family looked absolutely perfect. Mark worked in logistics. His wife Alicia was the charming PTA mom everyone loved, and little Noah was the bright third grader with dreams of traveling the world with his Grammy. But sometimes, the most perfect families hide the darkest secrets. It was October 8, 5:31 a.m. Helen jolted awake to her phone ringing. Nobody calls at this hour unless, "Hello, this is Helen Brooks." Silence. Then her son Mark's voice, but something was wrong. His voice was cracked, barely a whisper. "Mom, it's Noah. There was an accident last night." Helen's heart pounded. "What hospital?" "I'll come right now." She could hear Alicia sobbing in the background. Mark's words came in broken fragments. He was walking home from Jacob's house, tried to cross Main Street. A car was speeding. "Mark, where's he?" Then came the words that shattered her world. "Mom, Noah didn't make it. He's gone." The phone slipped from Helen's hands. Her grandson, her Noah, was dead. 3 days later, rain soaked through the churchyard as Helen stood in black, clutching a white rose, Noah's favorite flower. The casket was so small, too small. She didn't cry during the service. Not when the pastor spoke of God's mysterious plans. Not when Noah's classmates placed their drawings by the casket. Not even when Alicia collapsed sobbing into Mark's arms. Helen just stared, her heart emptied of everything. That evening, she returned to her silent house, still in her wet funeral dress. She sat on the couch where Noah used to curl up with his books, where they'd shared hot cocoa and stories about dragons. The silence was deafening. As darkness fell, Helen heard something that made her blood freeze. Tap, tap, tap. Footsteps. Slow, dragging footsteps outside her door. Through the peephole, she saw a shadow, small, childlike, just beyond the porch light. "Who's there?" she called, voice trembling. A pause. Then, "Grammy Helen." Time stopped. That voice. It couldn't be. It wasn't possible. But her legs moved on their own. She unlocked the door with shaking hands and flung it open. Standing there was Noah. His face was streaked with dirt. His shirt was torn. His hands were scratched and covered in soil. One shoe was missing, but he was breathing. "Grammy," he whispered, "help me." Helen fell to her knees. This was no dream, no hallucination. She could feel his breath, the dampness of sweat mixed with rain and dirt. Her grandson, her buried grandson, was alive, after a warm bath and hot soup. Helen sat beside Noah on their couch, the same couch where they'd shared so many happy moments. "Noah, sweetheart, what happened?" Noah looked down at his trembling hands. "I think they tried to kill me." "Who?" "Daddy and Mommy." Helen's world tilted. "Again, what do you mean?" "They gave me something to drink. It tasted weird. Then I got really sleepy. When I woke up, I was in the dark, in a box, underground." The words hit Helen like physical blows. "I think they wanted the insurance money," Noah continued, his voice flat and eerily mature. "I heard them talking about it before. Something about $5 million. I don't think they thought I would wake up." Her own son had buried his child, alive for money. Noah had clawed his way out of a poorly made casket, through 3 feet of dirt, following moonlight until he reached the surface. "I don't want to go back there ever," he whispered. "You won't," Helen promised. "I'll protect you." But who would believe them? The next morning, Helen marched into the Fairhope Police Department with Noah by her side. "This is my grandson, Noah Brooks," she announced to the desk officer. "He was declared dead and buried 3 days ago. But as you can see, he's alive." The officer stared. "I'm sorry, ma'am." "What are you saying?" "I'm saying my son and daughter-in-law faked Noah's death. They drugged him, buried him alive, and he crawled out of his grave. This is attempted murder." When Chief Leonard Taylor appeared, Helen knew something was wrong. He barely looked at Noah. Mrs. Brooks. Grief can confuse a person. You may be projecting. Ask him anything, Helen demanded. Noah spoke up. My name is Noah Brooks. My birthday is April 15th. My favorite food is Grammy Helen's apple pie. My teacher is Mrs. Keating. I was reading Holes by Louis Sachar before. Before it happened, Chief Taylor's jaw tightened. I think you should go home, Mrs. Brooks. You need rest. The police chief wasn't on it, refusing to give up. Helen drove straight to Fairove General Hospital to find Dr. Susan Lang, the medical examiner. When Dr. Lang saw Noah, her face went white. I knew something was off, she whispered. The death certificate was signed by a physician who doesn't exist. I flagged it, but Chief Taylor told me to let it go. Finally, someone believed them. Dr. Lang examined Noah. The soil under his fingernails, the scratches, the bruises, everything matched his story. We need to call the state police and FBI, she said. Insurance fraud is a federal crime. Justice was finally opening the door. State investigator James Ryder and FBI agent Angela Thomas arrived within hours. They listened to Noah's story with growing horror. You're very brave, Agent Thomas told him, and I believe every word. Their first step? Exhume the grave. What they found made everyone go silent. The casket was empty. The lid was broken from the inside. Small handprints were embedded in the dirt above it, pressed into the underside of the shallow grave. This casket is barely 3 feet deep, Ryder observed. That's not legal burial depth. The funeral director cracked under pressure. I didn't know the boy was alive. They paid me $50,000 in cash. Chief Taylor signed off on everything. Toxicology tests confirmed a strong sedative in Noah's blood, enough to knock out a child for hours, but not quite enough to kill. Most children wouldn't have survived it, Agent Thomas explained. But Noah did, likely due to adrenaline and sheer will. The web of corruption ran deeper than anyone imagined. The investigation revealed the chilling truth. Mark Brooks had taken out multiple life insurance policies on Noah over the past year quietly, without Helen's knowledge. Total payout, $5 million. Mark's business was drowning in gambling debt, stock failures. He saw the insurance payout as his only way out. The plan was calculated and cold. Drug Noah with sedatives, stage a fake accident, bury him in a shallow grave with a weak casket, collect the insurance money. Never expected Noah to wake up. He never expected him to escape. The arrests came swift and satisfying. Mark and Alicia were arrested in their home. Alicia screamed about mistakes. Mark tried to blame everyone else. Chief Taylor was arrested the next morning. He'd accepted $100,000 to suppress questions about the burial and death records. The mayor of Fairove resigned amid suspicion. Several city clerks and police officers were investigated for related misconduct. What began as a child's miraculous escape had become the largest corruption scandal the town had ever seen. The courtroom was packed. Headlines screamed, "Buried alive, 8-year-old escapes death to expose family insurance scam." Reporters lined the courthouse steps. Protesters held signs reading "Justice for Noah." Helen sat in the front row, watching as Mark and Alicia entered. In handcuffs, they didn't look at her once. Noah testified on the third day. Small and solemn in his press shirt, he told the court exactly what happened. His voice trembled, but he never faltered. He told them about the strange tasting drink, waking up in darkness, clawing through dirt because he didn't want to die. Without saying goodbye to his Grammy, the courtroom was silent. Even the judge wiped his eyes. The verdicts were swift. Mark Brooks, 25 years for attempted murder, conspiracy to commit insurance fraud, and child abuse. Alicia Brooks, 20 years as an accomplice. Funeral director Gordon Ellis, 10 years for fraud and reckless endangerment. Chief Taylor, 15 years for obstruction of justice and bribery. Outside the courthouse, Helen hugged Noah tightly. You did it. You told the truth, and the world believed you. Noah looked up with those same wide eyes. Can we go home now, Grammy? Yes, sweetheart. We can finally go home. And this time, no one would take that from them. 6 months later, Helen and Noah left Fairove forever. They moved to Silver Lake, Vermont, a quiet town nestled near a gentle lake, surrounded by pine trees. Their new home was a modest cottage with a blue roof and a small garden. It wasn't fancy, but it was theirs. And more importantly, it held no ghosts from the past. Helen became Noah's legal guardian. The court terminated all parental rights from Mark and Alicia. No visitation, no contact. Noah had been clear he never wanted to see them again. Silver Lake Elementary, Noah started fourth grade under a new name for privacy. He quickly became friends with a girl named Lily, who loved books and bugs as much as he did. The healing began slowly, like a gentle tide. One afternoon, while helping Helen knead dough in their kitchen, Noah said, "You know what I wrote for my school essay?" "What's that?" Helen asked. "The topic was my hero. I wrote about you." I said my hero was Grammy Helen, because she believed me when nobody else did, and because she saved my life. Tears came to Helen's eyes. All this time, she had wondered if she had done enough, if she had been strong enough. But hearing Noah's words, she knew that even in the darkest chapter of their lives, love had been the light. A year after the night Noah came back from the dead, they sat on a wooden bench by the lake. The sun was setting, casting a soft orange glow across the water. "I'm really glad I made it out," Noah said softly. "If I hadn't, I wouldn't have this. I wouldn't have you." Helen wrapped her arm around him. "You were meant to survive. You fought your way back. That kind of courage, that's something no one can teach." "Do you think we're still a real family?" Noah asked. Helen smiled. "I do. Because a real family isn't always about blood. It's about who shows up, who stays, who protects you when it matters most." Noah nodded thoughtfully. "Then I think we're the realest family there is." Meanwhile, Noah's story had sparked important conversations across the country about trust, justice, and how easy it is to hide behind power. The town of Fairove underwent sweeping changes: new leadership, oversight of local police, reforms. In child protection cases, people wrote letters, sent drawings, donated to support Noah's recovery and education. As Helen often reflected, you can't erase trauma, but you can build something new on top of it. Stronger, safer, kinder. That's what they were doing now, day by day. Healing didn't come in a wave, it came like a slow tide, but it came. And Helen's message to anyone watching would be this: not everyone who shares your blood deserves your trust. Sometimes the people who love you most are the ones who fight for you when no one else will. If this story moved you, share it. Because someone out there might be waiting to feel seen, to feel believed, to feel safe again. And that can change everything. This incredible story of survival, courage, and justice reminds us that truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how deep it's buried. Sometimes the bravest heroes are the smallest ones. Family isn't always about blood, it's about love, protection, and showing up own person. Believing in you can change everything. What did you think of Noah's incredible story? Have you ever had someone believe in you when no one else would? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story impacted you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible true stories that will leave you speechless. And remember, sometimes the most unbelievable stories are the ones that actually happened. Until next time, keep believing in the power of truth, courage, and love.